And there it is, right on cue. Hello everyone and welcome to Best Side Cycling. This marks my 5 years on YouTube. I started this account February of 2021. Had my upload the day after I made my account. And here we're at the I-90 trail, and this is where I made my second ever video. Just sort of commentating over the route or things. And today what we're gonna do is we're gonna ride it, and I'm gonna introduce all the new things that are coming and things that have changed over these past 5 years, but also just answer a lot of Q&A from all of you. And yeah, so let's get on bikes. And yeah, it's been a while, so let's go for it. So we're here at the I-90 trail at the start of the Mercer Slough section. This part has been repaved nicely, with most of it remaining the same, except of course the Cross Lake connection opening on March 28th. To put this into context, I made that video back in 2021 when I think the expected opening was 2023. So it would be not really hard to say that I've literally been waiting over half a decade for this to open, and it's finally coming. So here it's a very subtle, but up ahead there is a train heading in the westbound direction, and it's just so mind-boggling every time now seeing the trains come and this actually coming to fruition. For someone that's lived in near this area, this is gonna be one of the biggest changes in ever, as well as the first light rail to run across a floating bridge in the whole world. So definitely expect a video on that. And just to bring it back to the 5-year anniversary of this channel, I took a look at some stats and I was sort of astounded. It's been 450 videos, 1.8 million uploads, and I think somewhere in the realm of like 60,000-70,000 watch hours, which is a lot of hours. So I just wanted to give a huge thank you to all of you for supporting and watching the channel. However you have been along this journey, I definitely would not have kept going without your support. As when I first started, I think 10k was a bit of a pipe dream, and I remembered thinking to myself, if I ever got to that point, maybe I would be the Seattle bike guy. So you can help me determine if I reach that. As we crest over this little bridge, this is a fantastic viewpoint I've seen of the light rail. One of the closest you'll get without an obstructed view, so I'm sure some people will come here. But to know again is that on the right here is a trail that leads you directly to the South Bellevue station. It's not nearly as well known, and it's not the most well maintained either, but it is preferable, I think, to the other options, and it's just a short direct ride away. So definitely take note of that, and then we'll keep going as we're gonna go on to Mercer Island, check out some of the progress that's been going on the I-90 trail there. Which is another sort of half a decade long thing to talk about, as well as answer some more questions and thoughts about the channel, in which the top question I got was definitely what's next for Best Side Cycling. So I would say 5 years ago, a lot of things have changed since then. I mean, I've fallen so much more in love with just cycling as a whole. I didn't even know what a Brompton was back then, so there's been so many transformations in this way for me. And I think you've seen that throughout the channel, though I think a big tenet of it has always just been reporting on Seattle bike routes and infrastructure, and I don't foresee that changing at all. But personally, things are going to change quite a bit. A little bit of spoilers, but yeah, we'll have to see, because I think I've always meant to do this channel in a way that's like very sustainable personally, and it's always been something that's just really my main hobby and passion, and I wouldn't want it to grow too far beyond that, but it's always a hard balance. So it's hard. I really have to say that I probably have like hundreds of hours of footage that I probably could make into more things, but it's always tight trying to balance between everything. But rest assured, I've always just felt so convicted and called to, yeah, whenever there's a big update or something that I really think pushes the needle to get people on their bikes here, you can count me being on it, because I love serving this community and being a part of it. And yeah, I think that's another aspect I hope to continue doing, whether it be hosting the big Best Side Summits ride or just having ways for you to plug in. It's great. But getting back to the tour here, you'll see that there's been some work done in this area,
and this was part of a project to improve access to the South Bellevue station. So a lot of these roads were redone. You'll see on the westbound side, the north side, that there is some new painted bike lanes, and they've included sort of the new standard with the green paint and everything, as well as there is a painted bike lane on this side as well. So it's all sort of been redone. Namely, the pavement is better, and then up ahead we'll see some speed cushions and things like that. But I'm just gonna ride this route just because it is marked, and it is another alternative way that you can use to get to the South Bellevue station from here, which I think will be a big deal. I mean, in terms of bike plus transit options, someone asked me what's my favorite way to use bike and transit. And you know, the funny thing is that you would think it's only the Brompton that I do it with, but honestly, I use bike in transit with all my bikes. Like, I've definitely done a lot of rides where I end up doing like some gravel loop and I end up in Redmond, and then I just take the light rail back just because it saves me some time getting on the train, as well as it lets me rest, and then I can sort of sprint the last bit home sort of thing. But honestly, I don't think there's any better combo in transit than the Brompton, because you can take any bus very easily, light rail. I think that's my only slight gripe about the light rail, is that they're not like full size trains like the Canada line or like the Sky Trains in Canada and Vancouver, where you can pretty much take almost any type of bike on really easily. Yeah, that's so having a Brompton, something that folds up super small, just makes the use case that much better. So I look forward when the Cross Lake opens. I think one of the first things I'll do is take my Brompton over to Raising Cane's, because why not? It is a direct shot from here. And yeah, so as we go down here, you'll see these speed cushions that I was mentioning before, and then as well as the station here on this downhill. And then I watch out for that brick crosswalk thing. Someone did mention it to me, like, what is that? It's really slippery in the wet. It's this interesting concept here in Bellevue, where basically wherever you see that blue sign that we just passed that says residential area, you'll see those sort of marking it as just sort of to transition you to sort of like a calmer area, or supposedly for drivers. I think the intention's good, and I mean, those practices, I think I've seen them also like in the Netherlands using brick or things like that. But just take note that it definitely can be slippery. And as we climb up this hill, another fun question I got is like, why do I love climbing so much? And I answered this in a video before, but I think for me it really boils down to why I ride. I started in the pandemic, like a lot of people, and it was for the reason to just de-stress and recreation. And I think climbing for me is something that is very meditative, just because I tend to overthink or whatever. And when you're climbing, there really isn't that. Your brain just sort of shuts off, and you just have one goal set in mind that's right in front of you. And then when you get there, you get a whole sense of achievement. No matter how big or short the climb, each one's a little different. And I think, yeah, just repeating that, growing that 100 times fold. I'm sure I have also a very positive feedback loop because I'm a smaller rider, so I sort of have a more of a leg up in that way. But yeah, I think there's something deep about that. And I mean, I love cycling now for all sorts of reasons, but I think that is still my core. And I think the only reason I'm able to do this channel for that long is just because of how addicted I am to turning the pedals. So you have the hills to thank that I'm making videos, because maybe I wouldn't have gotten so into it if the hills weren't here. And then next one is, I got a question about how much I spend making each video on Best Side Cycling. Considering I've made 450 videos, that is a lot of time. That is, I think, well over one video per week. I don't even know how I did that. But I would say it highly depends on the type of video, and it varies from maybe, let's say, in post-production, anywhere from like 2 hours to 6 hours. I don't try to spend too much time on it, but definitely for some of those ride vlogs like STP, definitely just give some respect to all the content creators out there, the ones making vlogs and stuff. The way it basically works is that the more clips you have, it's sort of like an exponential function going up in terms of the time it takes. So that's why I really love making videos about new bike lanes, because I generally just keep it simple, keep it in sort of one shot or two, and then I know what to do, I know what to talk about, and I just sort of go for it. So it's sort of a tried and true format, and I feel the return that I get is really great, even if it's just for, yeah, like the nowadays like 2,000 views. I just imagine it as 2,000 cyclists in a room. That's crazy. A lot of people. 2,000 cyclists is like chilly hilly attendance. So when I think about it that way, then it really hits for me, because a lot of times a lot of you do approach me in person when I'm out on the road. So that is really the driving force here. I think like from a pure sort of like, oh, I'm doing YouTube for the fame or the money or whatever, it's like it just won't add up that way in this case. And yeah, that's probably what makes this channel a little unique. I don't think I have anything ridiculously unique that I offer personally, but it's just maybe my pure passion for wanting to share the best sides of cycling in Seattle, and the way that Seattle has been in the past 5 years, decade that I've been here has been one that's been rapidly advancing, and one that like really came to sort of fruition during the time here of having our downtown bike network, of having a lot of trail networks, and things like that. I mean, East Side City still need to catch up in terms of actual protected bike lanes or things, but Seattle now is like on that front where they're just mainly focusing on reinforcing what they have. And then I think, yeah, East Side obviously is the big initiative we've been tracking this whole time, is the East Rail, the 40-mile trail going north-south. But yeah, there's definitely more stuff. And tracking King County as a whole has really effectively kept me super busy these past 5 years. So as we make it here onto Mercer Island, I want to give some updates, namely the long sort of elephant in the room, which is the Mercer Island Enatai sewer project. I don't remember when this started. It must have been about like 2020, 2021, but it's been a never ending loop of just construction and changes here. So yeah, there definitely has been a huge notoriety about how to navigate the I-90 trail and Mercer Island as a whole. And this section here to our right is still closed after all that time. And yeah, not gonna go into the super long history of it. I even tried to make a video before explaining this, but it just keeps changing. But there are some sections to the west of here that are in a somewhat complete state that we'll check out, as well as end up at the Mercer Island Link Station, which is one of the two that will be opening during the Cross Lake connection on March 28th. So that's gonna be so exciting. And as we head over there, I presume if you're watching this, you're a supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. Definitely roll over the like button and subscribe if you haven't. But if you have, other ways is, yeah, I have things from like a buy me coffee link below, or I have a YouTube membership, and I'm also running some best side cycling kit order right now if you want to sport the jersey or things. I sell those at cost, as they're from sort of a nice premium brand from LEL, but it would be always appreciated to have, yeah, to see the spirit spread everywhere, and just being yourself and commenting your thoughts on anything that you've learned or enjoyed from this channel. I would really appreciate it too. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I really never expected to get here. I hope that there's another 5 years in me, and I know things are probably going to change. I mean, this channel has definitely impacted me significantly, and I know it's impacted some of you as well in terms of getting you cycling in this region. I wish there was a way for me to quantify it sometimes, but here we are onto the I-90 trail after that detour. This part is pretty fresh pavement, and I'd say like pretty much all of it just past the Mercer Island Park and Ride and the link stations have been worked on or redone. But just as a forewarning, there is another detour that's up ahead, which I think is in lieu of like emergency repairs or something like that. But yeah, this is a great way though to access the link station that we're getting to. So this is still really good to know about and see how these connect up. But yeah, another question that I got was how to be successful on YouTube. I think I'm definitely the wrong person to ask because I don't know if I qualify under that at all. But I say definitely, um, at the end of the day, I think YouTube rewards when people watch your videos. So whether you have the most great production value, storytelling, the best niche, or different things, there's more. YouTube's a huge platform, and there's like space for that. Getting started could be a big tough. I did need to rely on a lot on sort of cross posting and getting friends or whoever is sort of involved to get you started. But I did notice a big difference after hitting my first 1,000 subscribers. But I've seen people have good luck when they just start out making better videos than I did. But practice makes perfect. Just like in anything, cycling has been a journey for me from the beginner that did that on a hybrid bike on the Burt Gilman Trail to now riding a Brompton from Seattle to Portland. So this was the detour that I was talking about. They put it pretty far out because this is the only section that sort of has a nice rolling sort of escape down there. So I think they just have one section that's currently torn up for the repairs. But yeah, because of this reason, and usually because when I'm commuting across Mercer Island, I'm on my e-bike. I very rarely, if ever, take the trail. I usually am just here on Mercer Way, and it's just way more convenient and haven't had that same issue. So we'll go on till after the detour, then we'll get back on there. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Anyone can go ahead and get on YouTube, and that's one of the really cool things about it. The platform is that it just gives everyone a voice. I think that's sort of how I like about the channel, is because usually it ends up being a reflection of like who you are and your own interests, and I'm glad to see a lot of parts of myself just reflected in my videos, whether it's my love for climbing, my love for Bromptons now, or love for commuting, and just my sense and personality. They all get sort of shown here, and I think hopefully you're here because you're drawn to some of those aspects too. So I say follow what you have and be who you are, and hopefully people come along for the ride and listen. So that brings us to this hill, which the I-90 trail overall is actually decently quite rolly. I know a lot of trails aren't that way, but this one is a little different. So we are now approaching this intersection, which I've always never liked too much because it sort of transitions you onto sidewalk and things, but it is going to be the most direct way to get to the new link station, which you have access to from two sort of major roads, one that I'll show you and then one that's sort of like further ahead there. But another question I got is, what's the next big challenge that I'm working on? I'd say that I'm not leaning towards doing any crazy things out of Washington for the time being. So I think something I might have planned in April was probably a Brompton Everesting, which maybe you all can join me on. And what that is just me climbing up and down the same hill till I reach the elevation gain of 29,000 feet. So it's usually about a 150-mile ride as well. So it's a lot of climbing in one day, but it's it's one I've done before in 2022 and one of my most memorable rides because I had the community to ride along with me. So I'm hoping that we can emulate the same. So be on the lookout for that, as we are now finally in sights of the new light rail station here, which can be accessed on this street and the one block to us further west, conveniently already next to the park and ride. I think this is gonna be obviously a huge commuter hub getting in and out of Seattle, and I'm gonna be probably using this station a lot as well too, so pretty excited there, as it basically is this big stairway heading down to the highway level. So I think that's really about it for this video. This is obviously all going to come very soon with the opening next month. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I would love to get in touch anyway how. We have a Strava club, Discord, anything else. But yeah, that's all I had for this one. So happy 5 years and hopefully another 5 to come.